What's good? What's good? Welcome in. Welcome in. I'm gonna wait to get started for a few more people to get in. I ain't gonna be here long either. Can y'all hear me? What's going on, Shine Shine? Peace and blessings to you. Thank you for pulling up. What up, though, Lady Shy? Can y'all hear me? Okay, she said, yeah, Loretta. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. I'm on my phone, guys. That's why I was asking. I'm not at my computer. How's everybody afternoon? Those in Michigan, we are getting like a snowstorm or a blizzard. Loretta Smith says, great. That's good, Loretta. Shine Shine says, bless. Hey, what's going on, Galatians 6 underscore 7? Welcome in. Yeah, you said you code in Indiana. Yeah, we right above y'all, so we already know. Y'all probably getting it just like we are. Lady Shot says we had snow in New York after Christmas. Now it's just raining. Yeah, we was getting a mixture of it too, Lady Shot, like snow and rain. It's sleeting on the pavements now. Well, they out here salting the streets pretty much. Dawn Bays, welcome in. Finally caught my live. That's what's up. He said it was 80 degrees in Georgia on Christmas. Damn, that was nice. Glad I moved out of Michigan. Yeah, that's my next move, Shine Shine. I'm with you on that one. I'm over this code. Code in Texas. Good afternoon, Pretty Wings, R4K. I'm doing good. How about you? Cold and rainy. Well, it's cold and snow here, so yeah, it's kind of like the same. So I ain't gonna keep you guys here long. I know y'all got busy days, busy things to do. I'm gonna be here about a half hour to 45 minutes to an hour at the most. But hit the like button for your boy while you ain't here. Please don't forget to misspell anybody in the chat. I don't mind you cursing, but misspell it because I know what you mean. So Jarvis Bus case, Jarvis Bus saga. I didn't get to do a live for the transcript reading. I don't know for those who didn't watch it yet, but I did a video for the last calendar conference that he had did. He had fifth, and I want to know what your guys' thoughts and perspectives on it. How you guys feeling about it, or I guess overall where we are so far with this case? There's a lot of things in it I did not agree with when I read them. And the first thing that came to mind was, what kind of plea offer is this? Because to me, 40 to 80 years is not a deal. It's not a deal. I don't care how you I don't care how you shape it. You're already in your 40s. So 40 to 80 years, and they're not even putting a definite number on that offer. They're just saying between. But either way, it's not a deal to me. Don says I didn't agree to none for real, for real. Yeah. Give me a second. Galatians said, I don't understand why Shannon hasn't been charged or anyone else. I truly think she was involved. Yeah, most definitely. I believe she was involved too. She knows a hell of a lot. Reddit says definitely not. And that's what I was going to get to as well, Pretty Wings. Since you made that comment, like usually in these type of cases, when someone is missing, that would be a part of the plea deal. The location of the remains of the missing for those that's implicated. But I didn't hear that in that type of, quote unquote. I'm gonna use that plea deal that they had. Bay says they all need to be under the jail. Facts. And then what I also didn't like about it is they also to dismiss the CSC counts. To me, I feel like that was just a slap in the face. And I'm gonna say for why. I'm pulling something up real quick. The dismissal of the CSC counts, I didn't like that. I didn't agree with it. It was a slap in the face to the kids that suffer the same abuse. And I feel like when you get charged for something, you want that to reflect, you want the public, and dismissing that would not show that. So that's why I feel like I didn't agree with the dismissal of the CSC counts. Another thing they talked about, the Sex Offender Registration Act. So I don't know if the state of Michigan has even done their due diligence, but Jarvis Butts is not on the sex offender registry. But a Jarvis Butts is on the sex offenders registry with a misspelled name. Who made that mistake? Did he do it intentionally on purpose, or was that done by the state by mistake? Don Bay said you should have been on there from the first one. Well, he's on there, but what I'm saying is that if you search his actual government name, you won't find him. But if you misspell his name, you will find him. So I believe that was done intentionally on purpose by him, but I can't prove it. That's just an opinion. Pretty Wing said exactly they are not taking into the account the trauma all the kids have endured and still going through. Yeah, exactly. That was my point. That's why I was saying I didn't even agree with the dismissal of the CT counts. And this is all coming from Kim Worthy, by the way. But if you go back to that press she had a year ago, when I read the dismissal of the CSC counts, I said it's funny when you go back to that press conference she had about a year ago, she did mention that several others will be charged. You're removing charges instead of adding charges, if y'all get what I'm saying. Desire Furia says Shannon should be charged with assessment. Yeah, Shannon should have like 7 or 8 different charges she should be charged with if she involved. She should be charged with accessory, tampering, a lot of other shit too. A lot of most stuff. So I kind of feel like that plea was like a bluff. Like I don't know if they wanted to bait him into going to trial because he is taking it to trial based on what he said, but there is no expiration date on that offer. So change his mind if he chooses to. Another thing I wanted to Don Bay says I wonder what judge we're gonna get. I hope it's the first one, the lady. Oh no, Don Bays, it's the guy, the same guy judge who's been here in the last few hearings, Judge Hathaway, Nicholas Hathaway. Judge Sabri was she was over the preliminary hearing and he's over the trial. I wish he was though. I wish he was the presiding judge over the trial though, because well, it's not really ultimately up to her if it's a jury trial, but I think she would handle it right. Handle it right. But yeah, what was I about to say? Also, they were talking about the length of the trial, 3 to 4 weeks. I don't see how y'all see that's possible with 80 witnesses, possibly more. I disagree. You'll see. Judge Sabri already showed bias against him. She had to step down, but I wish that judge was his judge. Didn't step down. She was the case was bounded over from the 36th district court to the Third Circuit Court. But she did show. I agree with you. She did show bias when she made her closing remarks towards him in the end. So did he admit to the unaliving? He didn't accept the plea deal. He didn't admit to anything. He's taking it to trial from what they said. I guess he's trying to take. I guess he's gonna take that chance and gamble with his life at trials. What they're saying, but he still can take that offer if he decides to, because they didn't put an expiration date on it. But I wonder, will that plea change like towards the final pretrial hearing, which is in January? I wonder, is that gonna are they gonna come back with a different offer? Before the actual trial shows up. Yeah, for the unaliving, they wanted him to cop to a second degree instead of first degree. That was in the plea. That was part of the plea deal, but he said no. But the prosecution is leaving it on the table. Anytime, anytime. Someone just said, give me a sec. Oh yeah. Also, I wanted to know. I'm kind of curious who his three witnesses are too for the defense, because originally we know he had 10, but now it's down to three, so seven dropped out. But I'm just curious to know who those three are, and it's not Shannon because she's already testifying for the state. Don Bay said, "Yeah, I told him sorry, I was driving." So did he admit to anything? No, Don Bays, he didn't. I think he's going to take his chances at trial, which is what is showing right now because he turned down the plea, but it's still on the table, or he's going to possibly uh, implicate others. It will be either one of the two. Sean says 3 people that ain't in their right mind. Absolutely. But yeah, guys, I was just wanted to chop it up about that because I also wanted to. It seemed like offering this plea is like when their case is not the best, their confidence has shifted. But that makes you kind of wonder, like, what confidence do you have in these 80 witnesses that you're planning on calling to the stand? Psychotic Error says, "Good afternoon, y'all. Good afternoon, Psychotic Error. Do you think he'll take the stand? I just can't understand how he's so confident in his position." I don't think he's going to do that. I think that's the last thing he's going to do, only because he hasn't talked since for he been locked up. Well, we haven't heard him say anything in court other than his name. But I don't think he's going to testify though. He does have witnesses testifying for him though. We don't know who. We have a final pretrial date of January 23rd, and then the actual jury selection starts February 23rd. And they say they're anticipating the trial to be at least 3 to 4 weeks. We don't know if it's televised or not. They haven't said if it would or isn't. I'm hoping it is. I would assume so. But I will be going to the trial as well too. I'll be there some days. I can't be there every day because of work and school, but I will be there some days. Sean Shaw said, "I can't imagine what his witnesses could say." That's what I said, Sean Shaw. I'm like, I want to know who, if anything, what they like. Who are they? Dalen Moore says, "So no more pushbacks." Um, like what you mean by that, Dalen Moore? Like he can't. Like this is it. This is the end all be all. After that date, Pretty Wings R4K said, "Ain't no way this trip is going to be over in 3 weeks." That's what I said. But they've been saying, they said that this last time in the 12-5 hearing, and they also said that in the 9-16 hearing, I believe, as well too. They said 3 to 4 weeks, and they got 80 witnesses to call, and that number can grow between now and January or February, actually. Oh, you mean as far as the trial date being switched again? I can't say. Yeah, I really can't say. I would hope the date does not get switched, but I really can't say. No, the January 23rd is the final pretrial conference, and the jury selection is February 23rd. Carmel Patterson, 8735, said, "Could the plea deal be offered because he didn't act alone?" Um, Not necessarily that, but usually when the plea deal is offered, it's because of their case, either the strength of their case, or well, it's a number of reasons. It could be one of that. It can be that reason, the strength of their case. Um, to avoid a lengthy trial, sometimes they do that, and to avoid taxpayer dollars. But I hate that reason when people say that, or when lawyers say that. But to me, I feel like that plea was not good enough. It wasn't nothing to be offered that he would consider, because you're giving him 40 to 80 years to a man that's already in his 40s, I believe. Yeah, he's in his 40s. I'm like, that's not a deal at all. Well, actually, Sean, that's what we were just saying. That's what we were saying earlier. Usually in a normal plea, that's what they would include to bring the remains of the missing that's involved and or to implicate others that's involved. But they didn't mention that in the plea as well. And that's why I was just kind of confused, like, well, what kind of plea is this? Because at first it was the length of the years you're offering him. They didn't even set a definite number. They just said around about 40 between 80 years. He's already 40 something. And then they didn't say, like in exchange for this, if you give us this, there was no mention of that type of language in the plea offering. Mel says, I agree. I wonder why was it even? Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, what kind of plea was this? They couldn't have not take. They didn't think he would actually take this type of deal because I can agree. I would turn that. Anybody would turn that down. To me, a plea deal and a good offer in his situation, and this is my personal opinion, um, 20 years max with the possibility of parole, lifetime monitoring, electronic monitoring, sex offender registration act, PC, protective custody. In exchange, I give up these people and I tell where the location of this is at. That would be like a good offer in his situation. And I'm just using that as an example. I think 20 years is the best he would probably get offered in his situation, but they offered him between 40 to 80. But if he turned that down, so I guess they could possibly change that offer to lower the years. But in his situation, no. And if he really wanted to get out of his situation, that's what I would have went to my lawyer and said. I have this information in exchange. I want this. I want this. 20 years to give me PC. I give up these people. I tell the location, and that would be the best thing he could possibly do. I can think of. No, it doesn't require it. Yeah, it's not mandated that they even have to. They don't have to. And then ultimately, it's at the judge's discretion to accept the plea deal. So just because the prosecution offered it, that don't mean that it has to get accepted by the judge. So let's say, for example, if he had Judge Sabrina, you think she would even accept the plea deal from him? Hell nah. I don't think Judge Hathaway is neither. Hey, what's going on, Carla Henry? Let me get this idiot out of here. Sorry for that, y'all. When the fools come out in the daytime, you gotta kick them out. Welcome in. I'm a magazine. Good afternoon. Yeah, guys. For those that's just joining us, we were just talking about the overall case and how it's going so far, and based on what we have learned and heard and the recent transcript reading, everybody feel about it. The plea offering. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. This is a safe space. Everybody can voice their opinion without being bashed. Kim Cole says, is he not being charged with premeditated anymore? That wasn't well, the plea offering was second degree instead of first degree. So yeah, that was what they were trying to offer him, but he turned that down and said, I'm gonna take it to trial. And that's another thing I didn't like about the plea is how they went from first degree to second degree. Because second degree is kind of like pretty much accidental. Is how second degree is kind of like equivalent to manslaughter. It's like something happened at the spur and a tragedy was the end result, as opposed to first degree premeditated. That person intentionally went out to seek to kill this person because of whatever it was. I don't think he's going to get over 25. Uh, he's doing more than 25. If they don't change his plea offering, he is. Psychotic Era says so. They anticipate having 6 witnesses take the stand per day. This feels messy. Without the M charge, he should still be doing significant time for being a repeat offender, in my opinion. You're absolutely right. I agree with your opinion too, Psychotic, about the witnesses or amount of witnesses. I wouldn't be able to know. But they did say that they were trying to get through 80 within 3 to 4 weeks. You got to take one for the team, MTGV. Welcome in, MTGV, Miss V. Welcome in. Salute. That was another thing I had said too. I was like, it's a possibility he might be getting blackmailed to do his bid. Because you got to wonder why he been. It's been 2 years since he's been in jail. So at that time, you would want to speak up. You should have spoken up by now. Is what I'm saying. Well, only the CSC charge running concurrent with the homicide charge, but they were offering him 40 to 80 years. That was the only thing they offered him. They didn't offer him anything, and that's why he turned it down because I guess he felt like he would take his chances at trial. Uh, MTGV says that's a joke. Yeah, that's what I said. It's a joke. Like what, the 80 years. I'm like, are they kidding me? What you think, MTGV? Are you sad that John Cena retired? Uh, I would be if I watched him wrestle. Johnny Hammer Magazine said I would have turned it. Yeah, I mean that ain't no deal. That's why I was saying I feel like if you're gonna take a deal, you got to come at me with like at least 20 years. Or like look at it like guys, he's already in his 40s. The best you're gonna get is 20 years, and probably still have some chance of a shot of a life out in your 60s. But at 40 years and to 40 between 80, and that was the weird part about the plea is that they didn't put a definite number in it. They just put it somewhere in between. So he could possibly end up with 50 years, 60 years, which is still bad. Any sane person would turn that kind of crappy ass deal down. MTGV Crime Podcast says, I think they don't have a strong case for Naziah, sadly. Yeah, that's what we were saying because it was they at some point their confidence kind of shifted. Like, why offer this? But it's just like after hearing about 80 witnesses, over 300 gigabytes data evidence, even with a circumstantial case, you just need a good jury, you know? It's just like, what have y'all been doing for these past, that's the question. What have y'all been doing to prosecute for the prosecution? What have y'all been doing for these past 2 years? Well, we know 6 months of the 2 years they've been waiting on, no, that's not them. That's the defense. Anyway, what were they doing for the entire 2 years of this case if they don't feel like it's their best? Podcast says, I feel the evidence is weak. Mm. My magazine says has already told some true. That's what we were talking about, Carly Henry. Do you think others will get arrested? That's what Kim Worthy had said over a year ago when we were talking about the transfer or the CSC charges being dismissed. We were talking about the others being charged as well, but you're removing charges instead of adding charges, including charges. And that's what we were talking about. I would like to see that happen. I would hope so. Kim Cole says, I feel like, wait, hold on. MTGV says, I feel like they have based the case off of false evidence. Planet clothes. Right. The pink jumpsuit. Yeah. Kim Cole says, I feel like they have a better chance of proving second degree than premeditated. He might have gotten off with the premeditated. Interesting. Now, in regards to that, and MTGV is on here as well too, because it was her video that I had reacted to. Um, the day before she went missing, Jarvis was at her house. Jarvis was there at that house, and it's a video I did. I think it was about a couple months ago. I can't be for certain, but I had reacted to MTGV's content. He was at that house the day before she went missing, and it was a conversation I had with her as well too, because he said it in his interrogation video. So somewhere in there, that can possibly prove premeditation if there was conversations had. Yeah, MTGB said he sure was. Yeah, he was at that house. You guys got to think about it. They knew he was turning himself in for that gun charge, right? He got 5 kids with Shannon, who lives at Annette's house. And Zaya also lives there. It would only make sense to go see your kids before you do your bid. He was at that house, and he also said it in this interrogation video. He talked to her over the phone, and he was at her house when she was getting her hair done by the dude next door. Carly Henry says, "Do they have any evidence that Naziah is gone?" That's what we're waiting on. Carly Henry, nobody knows. We thought we were trying. We're going to see that at trial, but they were offering a plea. We're just trying to see what kind of evidence we got. You know, Kim Worthy said they had more evidence to come out. MTGV said he told on himself the whole interrogation. Yeah. And I did a whole reaction to it. I said, wait a minute. I didn't know that that fool was at that house the day before because that changes a lot. If we know he was at the house the day before she went missing, it changes a lot. And we don't know what conversations was had with the adults in the house. Annette, what's going on, Rhapsody? Oh yeah, when you check out the reaction MTGV, you gotta go check out that video that I reacted to her content. It was a whole interrogation video that he did with that detective who I also did a video on, and he said it in the interrogation was at that grandmother's house when she was next. And she was I didn't see her. He said something to the extent where she was at next door getting her hair done, and he had a conversation with her that previous day. I can't exactly remember the exact words he said, but he was that he did say he was there and he talked to her as well. Are you coming to the trial too, MTGV, or gonna make a day if we have a trial? Shall I say? My magazine says, but Jarvis trying to make it seem like him and Isaiah was in a relationship together. Um, I didn't see that. I didn't see signs of a relationship at all. I disagree with that though. MTGV said she was going back and forth next door getting her. Yeah, she was going back and forth next door to the dude that was on the 7 Mile radio with Shannon that was spazzing out. That was him too. That was doing her hair. And he lied on 7 Mile radio. And when they asked him, "Have you ever seen Jarvis?" He said, "No, I never speak. I never spoke to that man. I never seen that man." You had to. Like he was. Y'all were next door to. They were next door to each other. You can't consent. Yep. Devin. Yeah, that was his name. Now I don't want to say this is like a rabbit hole conspiracy theory, but all I'm saying is that all three adults were at that house the day before. Do you think Shannon got jealous about her pregnant? Do you think that could cause her to want to harm Nazaya? I'll say yeah, Galatians. I would say yeah. The jealous part, I would definitely say yeah. I would definitely think she's jealous. Definitely, she was jealous. They all knew what was. They was sending her up to the shop when they asked when it was asked how can who can tell her to go up to the shop. Who did they say she had to get permission from? Annette. Shannon said she would. She said she can tell her daughter Janiyah she can go, but in regards to Nazaya, she had to get permission from Annette. So Annette was knowing what was going on. Just like when he went up to that school on the playground and the teacher caught it. Who did they report to? Annette. Carmel Patterson said was Marquita there. So, oh, you mean at the house that day? Is that what you were referring to, Carmel? What's going on, Eight Chop? Don't forget to hit the like button if y'all just coming in. If you're already in the bushes, hit the like button. And I do have a YouTube goal at the bottom. Not mandatory, but it's just a YouTube incentive that they give us. Rhapsody said, "Do you think any more arrests will be made?" Yeah, I hope so. That's what we were saying. I want to. I want it to be. She said, "Yeah, the day that she was getting her hair done." It didn't mention her being there. I believe at the time she was on the west side, but yeah, it didn't mention her being there that day. Just those three. And you got to remember, he was distancing himself from her for a few months. So it's been, I believe it was a few months between September and December. Haven't, I don't think, seen each other or something like that. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the day before you go do your bid, you go over there. Appreciate you, Rhapsody. But super chat, super sticker, super chat, which one it is. And thank you as well, Carla Henry. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to get you guys' reaction, get your perspectives on the case. You know, I had did the transcript readings to the 12-5 hearing. I didn't get to do it live like I wanted to, but at least wanted to tap in with the people to get everybody's opinions, see what everybody's thinking. I got a live set up later on as well at 6. And that's in regards to a South Carolina politician, a state senator, who's caught with child sex abuse material. It's a whole lot of corruption going on down in South Carolina too. So I'm gonna speak on that later on. Kim Cole says, if Shannon was the one who hurt her, I do believe that Cash said Shannon got mad when the abortion pills weren't working. Shannon thought that she was just trying to keep the baby. Yeah, that was said as well to Kim Cole. That was said as well too. I had watched that video. I wonder what did he tell her? Like it's what he wanted her to be pretty by getting her hair done. Yeah, but you also got to remember too, MTGV. She had it was alleged that she had told her classmates that she was running away with her boyfriend or something like that, and that she was pregnant as well. So I'm thinking that's probably what he would have told her. You know, running in regards to running away in that area, or saying something to get her to run away. I'm a magazine says I really want to know what Natalia mom knows. Yeah, that's the real. That's what I think. I said that too a while back. She would tell it all. I think she would tell it all. MTGV Crime Podcast says, "Yep, tricked her, lied to her." Yeah, he definitely played mind games. We already know, we saw that through the testimony, so it wouldn't be surprising that he said something then. I'm gonna grab a few more comments, and then I'm gonna get on out of here. I got a live set up later on in the evening. Thank you for the gifted. I'm a magazine. Appreciate you. I have a live at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm gonna be about an hour, about it. I think 6 p.m. will be my time. From now on, I got a live tomorrow at 6 as well. Yep. So tomorrow I got a live at 6, and today I got a live at 6 p.m. Pull up, check out your boy. I'm a magazine says, do you think there would be another plea on the table? It's a possibility. We had said that too earlier. I think that they might change the conditions, maybe the next at the final pretrial, but that's just that's just an opinion. That's not something that's set in stone. But it's a possibility that they can change it They're not putting an expiration date on it. But yeah, we'll get all the scoop, get all the info, or everything we need to know January 23rd, which is the final pretrial conference. MTGV Crime Podcast says they're not even attempting to make him talk. Yeah, they're not even trying to sweeten the deal. You know what they say? That's that what they offered, that wasn't a deal at all. So that's why he turned it down. You're welcome, Carlin Henry, anytime. Appreciate you. And that's what we also said at MTGV. Where is Naziah? Because that should have been mentioned in the plea. Finding the remains and location. Not just that, but also implicating others that was involved as well. That's normally what a plea would offer. In a situation where someone is missing. And it's sad. And I think if they do offer another plea, I think that should be included. It sounds crazy, but in order to even get him to budge or negotiate, they're gonna have to come down on them years. That's just what it is. They're gonna have to shave off a few of them years and a plea and a better plea deal to even get him to consider taking one, possibly, or he's being blackmailed. I'm a magazine says Shauna knows. Yeah, she know. She know what happened. She know where she at. I believe that part. Agree. Carla Henry says that should have been the main thing. Yeah, you would think, right, Carla Henry? That's why when I read the transcript, I didn't see that mentioned nowhere as far as a plea to like an agreement to bring the location or anything like that. I kind of already knew it was a bullshit plea when I read the years 40 to 80. I just already immediately knew this is not an offer. Hey Faye, welcome in, welcome in. Hit that like button, y'all. If y'all just coming in, MTGV Crime Podcast says corruption. Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. But all right, guys, I'm about to get on up out of here. I got a live later on at 6. Pull up. Thank you guys for pulling up. Don't forget to hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Like, share, comment. Have a good one.